The Guardian has revealed yet another massive invasion of privacy. They published an article earlier this week, and thanks to Glenn Greenwald and Edward Snowden, we're finding out about this program called XKeyscore. It's a complicated program, and it's probably the culmination of your worst nightmares about what the NSA is doing. Glenn Greenwald described it this way. He says, listen to whatever emails they want, whatever telephone calls, browsing histories, Microsoft Word documents, and it's all done with no need to go to a court, with no need to even get supervisor approval on the part of the analyst. It says a little teaser of what it can do. And so it's this massive program all over the world that gathers up your different browsing and viewing data and stuff like that you do online after they have an email. They can decode what language you were speaking in, track down who you are, and then they log all of this information. Now we've got tons of details about what it can do. How did you react to this? Were you at all surprised that it goes way beyond what we had initially thought?
This is so ridiculous. Look, no. Not surprising. Sadly, this is not surprising. I've assumed all this actually for quite some time, that they can just watch us and they know what we're doing and they know what porn I've seen and they know how often I go to ESPN.com or wherever else that I'm going. I just assume
what team you support.
They know that. They know I'm a Yankees fan. I didn't want anyone to know, but they know. And I know.
Yankees.
Dodgers. Okay. But I think what's particularly disturbing here is that it's just that we keep thinking that we've heard everything and that we're just going to keep finding out more and more of the things that we think are sort of paranoid delusions are actually true. And that's the scary part. When does this end?
I'm already under the assumption that every single thing I do is being watched by the internet. And maybe that's me being extremely...
including this.
Not by the
cameras
internet,
all over us.
by the government, including my activity on the internet. In fact, this is the big news story of the day. And I have to tell you, I found it to be the most mediocre news story of the day, not because I think it's unimportant, but because it's so unsurprising.
Yeah, it's so obvious.
And so for the majority of Americans that have no interest in political activism and don't want to stir the pot and don't want to stand up to authority, this might not be that big of a deal because, as you mentioned, Dave, you know, okay, so the government's like taking a look at ESPN and you know, the porn I'm watching or whatever. I don't know if you said that as a joke or if you're like, you know, browsing the porn sites, which is totally normal. I'm not judging.
On the accidentally clicked through to things.
Accidentally, like we all accidentally come across porn. But the thing is, a lot of us do things on the internet that's embarrassing, whether it's sending an embarrassing email to an ex-lover or like whatever it is that you're doing, or watching porn, whatever. I mean, if the government does not like you stirring the pot, they can easily access that information and then leak it to the public. Or at least there is the fear that that could happen, which is why this is an issue.
Yeah, so why don't we give you some details of exactly what XKeyscore does. This is coming from the Guardian report. They say, the XKeyscore system is continuously collecting so much internet data that it can be stored only for short periods of time. Content remains on the system for only 3 to 5 days, while metadata is stored for up to 30 days. One document explains, at some sites, the amount of data we receive per day, 20 plus terabytes, can only be stored for as little as 24 hours. These are some of the structural constraints, just because of how much data they are pulling in every day. But they have a little system to get around some of those limitations. To solve the problem we just described, the NSA has created a multi-tiered system that allows analysts to store interesting content in other databases, such as one named Pinwhale, which can store material for up to 5 years. Now, just to give you an idea of the global scope of this, we've got a little map that shows you some of the locations of the servers. So there you see that the hot spots are where these servers are. There's over 700 servers. It's mainly run out of 4 bases in New Zealand and Australia. And now, granted, they say that the program, and by the way, these slides are, again, these are some of the leaks that are coming from Edward Snowden. He had access to this information. They say it's for getting information about foreign nationals, but there's nothing to stop them from using this domestically. And they say that there's no court order necessary to access this system. Even low-level analysts, including Edward Snowden, can just waltz in, use the program, and find all sorts of information.
Yeah, first off, you know, those PowerPoints that they have really are just horrendous. Can they at least do better with the PowerPoints? Number one. Number two, the thing about the 20 terabytes, doesn't that seem like a really low number, actually? I'm pretty sure I have an external hard drive. But I have an external hard drive that has like 5 terabytes. I got it for like $100 at Best Buy. So I could be.
Bear in mind, hundreds of thousands of sites across the country or across the world, though, and that's just like one big site, like Bleacher Report has 20 terabytes or something like that. But then, you know, Facebook, God knows how large the amount of data that they gather is, and so they can go back in a month later to some of them. Some of it eventually, hopefully, is gotten rid of. Now, the NSA has responded to the revelations today by The Guardian. They say XKeyscore is used as a part of NSA's lawful foreign signals intelligence collection system. Allegations of widespread unchecked analyst access to NSA collection data are simply not true. Access to XKeyscore, as well as all of NSA's analytic tools, is limited only to those personnel who require access for their assigned tasks. In addition, there are multiple technical, manual, and supervisory checks and balances within the system to prevent deliberate misuse from occurring.
Right.
So they say.
I mean, that's the biggest bunch of bull.
I feel
don't buy
way better.
any of this.
I feel much better now.
I mean, so the maddening part of this entire story is Edward Snowden continues to leak more and more information, and little is being done in terms of protecting our privacy rights. In fact,
Well, in Congress, some Democrats and some Republicans are putting a lot of pressure on them. The NSA did reveal, the Director of National Intelligence, I should say, revealed some information willingly because of the pressure that's been put on them.
Right.
So something is being done.
Right, not enough. I mean, considering the widespread surveillance that we're experiencing right now, I would like to see much more done. I'm not buying like these little actions, and I'm not buying pressure. There needs to be more than pressure. But the thing that drives me crazy about this is the fear-mongering that takes place, because you have politicians like Chris Christie making the argument that this type of spying is completely necessary to prevent any type of terrorist attack, and it's necessary for national security. Well, at the same time, I mean, you have the NSA and you have government officials releasing numbers like, oh, this program helped capture 300 terrorists.
Yeah.
Right.
300, what a very like even number. I like how they always
exactly 300,
exactly
not 302.
Exactly.
300.
So I don't buy any of that. But at the same time, okay, well, if this widespread surveillance is so effective, how did we not know that the Boston bombing was going to happen?
Right, and also, you know, remember when Obama was running for president, he was completely against all this stuff, right? Then the leaker comes out, and suddenly Obama says, I welcome the debate. So now he was against something, now he welcomes the debate about the secret that he helped keep.
Exactly.
And now we're supposed to believe these quotes that you just read. Oh, well, don't worry, no one's abusing the system. Well, did they know that Snowden was about to abuse their system? So it's just all of it is complete BS. There is simply no other way to see it, I think.